me zip my lip. I have a very, very, very special guest on the line with us tonight. We always have wonderful, wonderful people. God always connect me with the right people. Let me make sure my new friend Calvin Sims is on the side. Calvin, did you make it on the side with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. We're so delighted to have you on the line. Let me tell you something, guys. You know, we try to just hit it really quickly to kind of give you an intro, but he's going to give you his contact information, website, whatever he wants to give you, he's going to give it to you. But let me just share this with you. It was such a pleasure chatting with him. And again, God always, he just does it. He just blesses me to connect with the right people. I'm talking about people that are making a very positive impact in our community, okay? And he's one of them. He has lectures to many audiences all over the country as well as internationally, has motivated many, many people. And I love his mentality of overcoming obstacles. And that's a big deal because a lot of us are into this overcoming situation. I call it making a comeback, making a comeback. You got to make a comeback in whatever the area is. And he has a new book that I want him to talk about. But I want to introduce to all of you wonderful people out there, Mr. Calvin Sims. And after he shares whatever God put on his heart, we will open the call up to a Q&A where you can ask him questions and make comments about his message. Calvin, in advance, I want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to share your knowledge and wisdom with our listening audience. The floor is yours, sir.
I want to thank you for allowing me to share this opportunity because what's more important to me than anything else in the world is exactly what you're doing, exactly what you've laid out. And you said taking away from my busy schedule, I'm busy about doing what you guys are about doing right now, so I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
Overcoming Obstacles, my new book. Let me tell you a little bit about me, and you'll understand what I'm all about when it comes to overcoming obstacles. I have a nickname professionally. They call me the Relentless Winner. Relentless Winner. My motto is, I never lose. I either win or I learn, but I never, ever lose. The title of the book that Dr. Stroman was talking about is Turning 2 into 4. Instead of asking God, why was this done to me, ask, why was this done for me? You see, that's all about overcoming obstacles because along my development and my ability to achieve success in life, I developed an attitude such that there is nothing negative that happens to you in your life. Everything that happens for a purpose. It's up to you to determine what is the lesson. You see, when man teaches man, they give you a lesson, and then they give you a test. But see, when God teaches man, it's just the opposite. When God teaches us, he gives us a test, and then there's the lesson. And that's what my book is all about. Let me tell you a little bit about my background so that you'll understand how I came to that revelation, that epiphany, if you will. My mother met my father while she was separated from her husband. I was born out of wedlock. In 1952, that was a very, very bad thing to do, especially if your father is one of the most prominent ministers in the state of Georgia, in LaGrange, Georgia, actually. And she left me with her best friend, the babysitter. She went to work, she got sick, and she died. Her family turned their back on this new baby, this illegitimate child. Now, the woman that she left me with was a wonderful woman, but she had 4 children, 2 males, 2 females. They were adults, and they were totally dysfunctional. They were alcoholics. They later became drug addicts. And she had to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to take care of them because they couldn't stay on their own. They couldn't fend for themselves. That left me behind to be with them. I was beaten, abused, and sexually molested by all 4 of them before my first day of kindergarten. I grew up in a house that was the equivalent to what a crack house would be today, except that it was bootleg liquor and numbers back in those days. And I heard a really, really good friend of mine chime in, who's on the call and he's listening. I won't put him on the spot and call his name, but I'm so delighted that he's here. His mother and he were an oasis in a desert of crime and brutality and violence, and they had no idea of the kind of life that I was living. I lived a dual life. I loved school, but in the evenings when I got out of school, when I got home, I was encouraged to commit crimes. At the age of 9 years old, I was given a gun. I was taught to conduct armed robberies and burglaries, and I'm sure that my friend is probably surprised to hear all of that. But at the age of 16, I couldn't take it anymore. I dropped out of school after completing the 9th grade, and I joined the Marine Corps because I felt safer. This is 1968. If you know what was going on in our country in 1968, they were sending people of our hue to the front lines in places like Phu Bai and Quy Nhon and Pleiku, places in Vietnam. I joined the Marine Corps because I felt safer in the jungles of Vietnam than I did in the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, my hometown. After the Marine Corps, I got an affirmative action job cleaning up in a computer room. And one day I stumbled into this man's office. It was paneled, and there were trophies, and there were pictures of him with all kinds of celebrities, and his briefcase was laying open on his desk. And he was obviously a rich man, a very wealthy man, and laying inside his briefcase was a book. I stole that book. I read that book, and I'm here to tell you that that book was the last thing that I ever stole in my life, because reading that book changed my life. The book was written by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. The title of the book was Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And through reading this book, I learned things that changed my entire life. You see, I discovered a very simple principle, that the two things that can change your life more so than any two things in your entire life are the two things that you have the most control over. And those two things are your attitude and your effort. Reading that book was a shot in the arm for my attitude, and it changed my attitude. Those are the kinds of books that I write. Writing a book, reading this book helped me to parlay a job, an affirmative action job, sweeping up in the computer room, making just a little bit above minimum wage, to an international computer consultancy where I was making 6 figures. One day, they flew me to Zurich, Switzerland, where a chauffeur-driven limousine picked me up that morning to take me to speak to an international banking committee. You see, if you write a check on Peachtree Road, it's subject to go through Zurich, Switzerland before it gets to the bank that it was drawn on. Zurich, Switzerland is the international monetary capital of the world. Most of the money flows through Zurich. And I had the revelation, the epitome, if you will, that they would send a boy with a 9th grade education all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, to Zurich, Switzerland, to speak to people that didn't even speak my language. How in the world could that happen? How in the world was I not the same boy that was abandoned, not wanted, that was beaten, raped as a child? And I'm over here talking to these people about this new currency that they want to make work, called the euro. Well, the revelation that I got, the epiphany that I got, if you will, was that my purpose in life was to come back to Atlanta and go to that same neighborhood and talk to everyone who would listen and tell them that if they believe in themselves and if they believed in God, that they could accomplish anything that they could conceive. That's what Napoleon Hill said. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it will achieve. But I had something Napoleon Hill didn't have. I had proof. My life, coming from where I came from, was a living proof that those words were true. I wanted to become a writer when I was 8 years old. It took me 45 years to write my first book. In the next 13 years, I wrote 18 books. I've written 19 books, and I'm sitting in front of the computer screen where I'm looking at the manuscript of my 20th book that will be finished probably before the end of this year. I am obsessed with writing books that motivate people, that get people going, that prove to people that whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it will achieve. Now, I want you to jot this down because it's my website. My website is my name. It's www.calvinsims.com. And you can get a copy of my book, Turning 2 into 4, as well as many of the other books that I've written. You could get a copy of those books. I don't sell them. When you select a book on my website, you'll be thrown onto Amazon or Barnes & Noble or some other bookseller, and you'll be able to purchase the book from them. It's just that it's easier to find my books from my website. So I hope that you go there. And in addition to that, if you're listening to this call, what I found is that many of you have a story to tell, and the world needs to hear that story. So here's what I'm going to do for you. If you go to my website and click on the link that says Get My Book Free, I'm going to give you a copy of one of my books free. The title of that book is How to Write a Book, How to Get It Published, and How to Get It Paid. Now, this is not a pamphlet. A lot of times when people give away free books, they give you a little pamphlet. No, this is 183 pages of information packed in how for you to write a book. It's the difference between 45 years and me writing one book and over the next 13 years, me writing 18. I discovered something along those lines that empowered me to do that. And this is what this call is all about. It is empowering you. So if I empower you to do nothing else, I want to empower you to get the word out and tell your story. Because you see, when you listen to my story, and I know that there are probably some of you who listen to my story and they say, wow, something like that happened to me. And when someone listens to my story and they say, wow, if he can go through all of that, then I know that I can succeed in spite of the things that I'm going through, that I can be a relentless winner as well. But you see, each and every one of you has a story, and you can contribute to uplifting your fellow man. Brothers and sisters need to hear your story as well, and I want to give you a copy of that book so that you can make that happen. www.calvinsims.com. And I want to thank you for listening.
Wow, Calvin. Wow. Guys, I took me some notes. Listen, you heard what he said. You can get this. Now, here's the thing. I can say a lot, but I know we try to keep the call tight. Listen, Calvin truly blessed us tonight, guys. You know, guys, I'm big on this comeback situation I said earlier. And he just blessed you by going to a website and getting a book. We know leaders are readers. I remember,
that's right.
Calvin, I remember Bill Gates said this. He said, what's the one thing you wish you had that you don't have? He said, I wish I had more time to read books.
I'll tell you one other thing that set me on fire was when I heard someone say that if you want to hide something from a black man, hide it in a book. And I was determined as soon as I heard that, I'm going to read everything I can get my hands on. Because they done hid something from me, and I'm going to get it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That is awesome. You have simply blessed us tonight. So, guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make an announcement or two, but then here's what I want you to do. I want you to either If you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Sims any questions that you in your heart to ask him. And we definitely welcome comments, because this is a resource call. This call is not about me. It is about all of you and our very, very special guests who pour out their heart like he did today, being very transparent. That's how you get people liberated for what he said tonight, okay? And that liberation needs to be taking place because people are hiding behind a lot of different things and they don't have to. When you have a breakthrough, you have to break to someplace. So we want you to get to where God wants you to be, and don't let nothing hold you back. He broke it down, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But, guys, get the book. Go to his website. Also purchase his book, okay, because we got to get in this mindset of supporting one another, okay, supporting one another. Create this atmosphere, this harmony, if you will, within our community. Each one teach one, each one reach one another. Bind the spirit of what? Jealousy, envy. We don't need that. This is all about cooperation, the spirit of corporations and supporting one another. You know the principle, sowing and reaping. Okay, so I highly recommend that you get the book and purchase a book too, okay? Don't just get the free deal. Go ahead and purchase a book, okay? Now, quick announcement. Glover mentioned earlier that we have a call every Tuesday. I just want to remind you about that, guys. It's very important that you take care of your health. I work with a lot of holistic doctors, so here's the deal. If you ever want to get on that call to protect yourself from things like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, all of that stuff that's plaguing our community, let us know. Again, it's not a business opportunity call. We work with many, many holistic doctors, not only here in America but around the world, because I'll be going to Africa with this crusade, if you will, in 2020. And here's what we do. We put together a dream team of health and financial, what I call gladiators. And the first qualifier, you must love people. And that's what I'm responsible for to get. And I have to do a call tonight with a doctor tonight because we're setting up this thing that's going to launch in December. And so if you know anybody out there that want to be a part of this health and wealth movement, just let us know. My number, just in case, if you need to text me, it's at 678-907-3135, 678-907-3135. So let's open up the line, folks. I want you to show some love and appreciation for Mr. Sims for blessing us on this very, very special Thursday night. And remember this, failure will never overtake you if your determination to succeed is strong enough. So I'll let you know when the line is open. Okay, great people out there. Do you have any questions or any comments for Mr. Calvin Sims? He did a fantastic job tonight. Any questions at all before we let him go?
Thank you, Mr. Sims.
This is Lynn in South Carolina. Go ahead, dear.
It's just nice to know that it's never too late. We can always do something if we put our heart to it. And it was really very heartwarming to hear your story and encouraging to me.
Well, I just want to tell you that you only heard the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to my story.
I'm sure.
So much more that's uplifting. You know, when I was going through all of that pain, at some point in my life, I was grateful because I realized that through my suffering, people can be redeemed from my suffering, which is why, I encourage you, yes, read the book, because that book is so full of information that will just really make you invulnerable.
That's good.
Mr. Sims, that is awesome.
Yes.
This is Lynn in South Carolina. Thank you so much for sharing, and I mean truly sharing and being very, very open about what you've gone through. So many people truly need to hear what you shared, and I really appreciate it. So keep up the great work, and we appreciate you, and we will support you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Hello, this is Sylvia Washington, Oakland, California.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi. Nobody but God. I mean, your courage, to tell a story like that. Often, most people would try and hide that and not want to think about it or talk about it again. But that courage is nothing but God, nothing but God. It shows that you've forgiven people, that you have a peace within yourself, And it is just amazing to hear you. I always want you to continue to have that courage and to continue to share that story. And I'm going to get your book, and I'm going to learn how to write me a book. So I want to thank you again. I want to thank you. You have a blessed evening. Thank you so much.
I want to capitalize on something that you said. The most important thing about forgiveness is that you have to forgive yourself. You see, when I was living a life of crime, I was living in a world where it was more, and I hope that people are listening, it was more important to me what people thought of me than what I thought of myself. So I was inclined to steal so that I would be able to compete with the way that people dressed. When I went to school, I was intimidated by my classmates who were able to wear really, really nice clothes. And I had to steal in order to compete with them because it was so important about what they thought of me. But you see, when I grew and I learned that it was more important what I thought of me than what other people thought of me, and I learned to forgive myself for the crimes and the things that I had done wrong, that was when I truly was free.
Wow.
That answers.
That's some good. Yeah, go ahead. That's awesome, Mr. Sims. That is awesome. Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Smalls.
Yeah, how you all doing? Listen here,
I
was in and out of listening to the conference call, but I think I caught a part where he said something about Napoleon Hill's book. Did I not hear that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Brother Anthony, brother, you were fantastic, and I thank you for your testimony and what you're talking about Napoleon Hill's book. The Lord enabled me about some years back. I got the original manual of Think and Grow Rich, and I promised Dr. Anthony I was going to send it to him. Got a little sidetracked, but since you mentioned tonight, I'm going to make my priority to send you, Brother Anthony, the book.
If you can relate to Napoleon Hill's book, then you really need to read my books, because not only do my book expound the very same principles, they also share with you a story that if you're of African American or even American descent, be able to relate to the stories from firsthand. So you get the principle as well as the personality.
Okay, my last comment is this. Brother Anthony, this book is just a loan. I'm not giving it to you. It's just a loan.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smalls.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls.
Thank you.
This is Wesley in Atlanta.
Hey, Wes.
Hey, Calvin. It goes without saying that I am absolutely blown away by what you just said. When I look back at all of the things and the times that we shared together as friends and the things that we did together in school, it's absolutely amazing that I had no idea that you were going through the things that you went through. I am so glad to just be able to talk to you and to be able to read your book, and hopefully, I really hope that we will be able to see one another and just sit down and break bread and share time and share some memories.
Wes, I wrote a whole chapter in my book about you and your mother and what the two of you meant to me, because the environment that I came from, I never saw a mother sit down and talk to her child. I never saw a mother have a relationship with her child where they were laughing and she was encouraging, and I never saw that except on television. I saw it on Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best, and I saw it at Wesley's. And no, you guys didn't know what I was going through. And I remember one night we went to Piccadilly's restaurant. It's the first time I had ever been to a restaurant in my life. And on the way home, your mother wanted to drop me off. And I insisted that, no, I ate so much I need to walk it off before I get home. But I didn't want you guys to see where I live. And I cried all the way home because I had never experienced something so beautiful as what I had experienced, a mother and her child. And I wrote about it in my book. So you got to get that book, brother, and read about what I wrote.
I am. There is no doubt about that. I most definitely will. I tell you, my only regret is that my mother is not around to know what you went through, and also just to be able to talk to you. You know, she remembered you very well. Very well. And she never forgot about you. We talked about you, and I used to laugh with her about the things that we would do together, the things that we did in high school, building a radio station and things of that sort. It was absolutely wonderful.
In the 9th grade.
In the 9th grade, that's right. We built the first radio station. We did.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. What a beautiful call. Beautiful call. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you so much for your comments, man.
Thank you, Wesley.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this call is recorded like we always, and again, anybody need a recording, I would recommend that you share it with other people. Get this message out, because of what Calvin shared tonight can definitely bless a lot of people. Remember, don't keep it to yourself. You want to reach one and share back, and just share the information, guys. It can touch somebody's life, because we're into changing lives, man. That's what this thing is all about. And so Calvin really gave us a blueprint to make that happen. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much, everybody, for being on the call. And remember what Calvin said about, I'll say it this way, you're definitely unstoppable. It's not about ability, it's about mentality. And that's the key.
Right.
Okay? So, Calvin, thank you very much, and I'll be in touch with you, brother. We got to talk. We got a lot to talk about, okay, my friend?
Yes, sir.
He asked to spell his last name.
SIMS, CALVINSIMS, www.calvinsims.com.
SIMS. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, everybody, have an amazing night. Live long and live strong. God bless each and every one of you.
God bless you. Good night.
Okay, good night. Good night.
Good night.